Hitting $25,000 in a Roth individual retirement account by age 19 is an incredible achievement. It is a milestone that deserves celebration and genuine pride. But here is the real problem. That number can become a dangerous trap that stops you from building the massive wealth you are truly capable of creating. By the end of this discussion, you will understand exactly why that early win might be the very thing preventing your future financial freedom. There is a specific psychological phenomenon that happens when young investors hit a major balance milestone too quickly. It is known as the early success bias. When you reach $25,000 at such a young age, your brain naturally interprets that number as a ceiling rather than a baseline. You start to feel like you have already won the game. The cognitive anchor shifts from how much you can grow to how much you have already accumulated. This shift in mindset is subtle but devastating for long-term wealth building. The danger lies in how you define success. Most people fixate on the absolute dollar amount of their account balance. They see $25,000 and think, "I am doing great." But the only metric that truly scales with your career income is the rate of compounding and the volume of new capital you are injecting into the system. If you stop increasing your contributions because you feel you have hit a high point, you are effectively freezing your potential. You are treating a starting line as a finish line. Consider the typical trajectory of a young investor who hits this milestone. Often, reaching $25,000 by age 19 requires a high contribution rate relative to a low income. You might have been saving 50% of your paycheck from a part-time job, or perhaps you received a significant gift from family. The math works because your living expenses are low and your income is modest. The system functions perfectly in this environment because the gap between your earnings and your spending is wide. Quick resource note: I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. However, the moment you transition to full-time employment, the landscape changes completely. Your salary jumps significantly, but your lifestyle expenses usually rise to meet that new income. This is where the static contribution strategy fails. You cannot maintain a 50% savings rate when you are paying rent, buying a car, and managing a household. The mathematical impossibility of maintaining that initial high rate creates a psychological disconnect. You feel like you are failing because your percentage drops, even though your absolute dollar amount is likely higher than before. Because of this perceived failure, many investors stop contributing altogether or reduce their contributions to a negligible amount. They tell themselves they have already secured their early success. They believe the $25,000 balance is sufficient proof of their financial discipline. This is the survivorship trap. The early high-percentage contributions mask a lack of scalable systems. You built a habit that worked for a low-income phase but did not build the architecture to handle high-income phases. The critical missing link in most young investors' plans is the engineering of a scaling strategy. Without an automated system to incrementally raise your contribution limits alongside your salary bands, your early balance becomes a frozen asset. It yields diminishing marginal utility compared to the potential of a scaled-up portfolio. You are essentially leaving money on the table by failing to adjust your behavior as your income grows. Think of your portfolio like a garden. If you plant a tree and it grows to a certain size quickly, you do not stop watering it. You increase the water and the nutrients because the tree is now larger and needs more resources to continue growing. If you stop watering the tree just because it is already big, it will eventually stop growing and may even wither. Your money works the same way. The $25,000 is just the seed. The real growth comes from the continuous watering of new contributions. The opportunity cost of stagnation is staggering. A portfolio that grows solely through market returns after the initial lump sum will be vastly outperformed by a portfolio with a lower starting balance, but a high, sustained contribution rate that scales with your career progression. If you hit $25,000 at 19 and then never add another dollar, you are relying entirely on the market to do the work. If you hit $25,000 at 19 and then increase your contributions every time you get a raise, you are harnessing the power of both market returns and your own earned income. This is the behavioral cliff that so many young investors fall off. They hit the milestone, feel the satisfaction of the win, and then fail to implement the necessary architectural shift to a dynamic, income-proportional contribution model. They mistake the balance for the strategy. They think the number is the goal, when the number is just a byproduct of a process that must evolve. To avoid this, you must view your early success not as a destination but as a foundation. The $25,000 is not the ceiling, it is the floor. It is the proof that you have the discipline to save. Now you must prove you have the discipline to scale. You need to set up a system where every time your income increases, your contribution percentage automatically adjusts or you manually commit to a higher dollar amount. This ensures that as your earning power grows, your savings rate does not stagnate. The narrative of early success must be rewritten. It is not about celebrating the balance. It is about exposing the bias that stops you from scaling. The goal is not to have $25,000. The goal is to have the habit of saving a percentage of your income that grows as your life grows. If you can master this transition, you will not just be a young investor with a good start. You will be a long-term wealth builder who turns early wins into lifelong freedom. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.